You are listening to 4Geeks podcast. We talk about business, technology, and provide advice on how entrepreneurs can grow their companies. Hope you enjoyed this conversation.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 4Geeks podcast. And today with me is Meli Arce and Allan Porras, our CEO. And well, so guys, how are you?
I'm fine, Sergio. Thanks for inviting me a new episode and the 4Geeks podcast. As always, I would like to invite you to go to read our blogs and watch our webinars. Just go to 4geeks.io/webinars and 4geeks.io/blog to consume the value content for your business. So today we are with Meli. Meli is a QA lead here at 4Geeks.
How are you, Meli?
Hi, everybody. I'm great. Thank you. And thank you guys for inviting me.
Okay, perfect. Now, Meli, well, Allan, as you said, you can find out in our blogs also some meet entrance. So if you want to know a little bit more about Meli, you can go to our blog and you can find there a little interview we did with her. So
that's right. Yeah.
There you go.
The blogspot is named
Meet Meli Arce. Yep, Meet Meli Arce.
Blush.
Yeah, well, you'll have there. So as Allan said again, Meli is our QA lead engineer here at the office, and she's doing a lot of stuff. But we want to go through all the process of the QA day by day, hour by hour. So Meli, first of all, why do you think testing is so important?
Okay. Since the design phase, I think testing should be taken into consideration. For example, the way the app or site looks, how the info is presented, the colors and fonts used, the visual part, also then the way the site is going to be built, the different components, the relation between them, all these aspects have to do with the functionality of the app and the way the user interacts with it are pivotal to be analyzed by devs, QA, and management together.
Oh yeah, no, perfect. And yeah, I think the communication there is also important, right?
Yes,
because you have to understand some customer needs, but you have to understand also the software needs.
Yes.
So you have to play a role between the two parts, and that's, I think,
and also being in the shoes of the end user as well.
Yeah.
So thinking about all those aspects is
yeah, like
important.
the role because of that, because you have to be at end user shoes, but also at engineer's shoes.
Yes.
Because you have to understand how the things works on the development side. Okay. So. And I think you do a good work with that. So, which tools do you think a good QA have to use?
Okay, first of all, Jira or any type of issue tracking tool. That it's very important to have an organization and to keep track of everything that happens since like day one. Also, I think Jira also has this feature in which you can create stories like tickets, story tickets. So, for example, if you want to analyze how a component should be behaving according to the prototype, you can do it there, and so you have track of everything. Also, I think another tool that is important, communication tool, like for example Skype or Slack, especially if you work with people from other countries. Also, and I think it's very important if you're testing a site or an application that is used not only in desktop but also in other devices like mobile or tablet, you need to have those devices, or at least a simulation tool. For example, Chrome has one, the Toggle, I think this the Toggle device tools, in which you can
you can select even
simulate
versus iPhone or whatever.
and also you can add a lot of devices there according to their specs. Their specs and dimensions. And also, finally, I think it is very important to have like a screenshot or a screencast tool in order to have evidence of what you have you discovered.
I think most of the time as a developer, it's better to check a video than check steps written, right?
Yes.
So probably this tool is very useful for you at all days, because
I use it daily. Yes.
Yeah, and I think you can record your voice even, right?
Yes, you can explain. Yes,
that's fine. And about Slack and Skype, I think it's crucial here to have those tools because nowadays remote work is part of our being, right? And you, Meli, I know you have some days from home, so you have to keep communication with the client that is in the US and to keep communication with your team partners, and that's it. Even we use Slack for not only for QA, right? It's a communication tool, complete tool to keep everyone in the same page.
Yes.
That's fine. And I think you probably use Slack for your daily job. So what about your daily job? If you want to describe the default.
Okay. Well, I have like about 4 months working here. So like one of my first tasks was to get acquainted with the application, because it has a lot of stuff. So and also different type of users can use can use it. So I needed to get acquainted with that specifically in order to understand how it works and how it is expected to work. And well, that was one of my first tasks. Then, while getting acquainted, I found some issues, and this is when I started creating tickets. So, and this is like my daily job: create tickets. These tickets, they have to be very clear and straightforward for not only the developer but also the manager to understand, and to see if it is a valid or an invalid bug, for example. So what I do, for example, when I create a ticket, is to first specify the scope. This means where I'm testing, what I'm using. For example, if I am testing in staging or in production, if I'm using iOS or Windows, if I am using Chrome, or the type of browser, and also the type of user. Then I specify the steps. This is like a test case, all the steps that, since the very first one, until the last one. Then the current behavior, this what is happening right now, the issue, and this has to be supported by images or videos. That's where these type of tools are great. And then the expected behavior, that is what the manager wants for this specific part or function or feature to behave.
Okay, so that's your daily job.
Yes.
And how much, or I know you are trying to get into the QA automated world. Why do you think it's so important to have that knowledge nowadays?
It is essential because sometimes you have patterns of certain things like logging into, for example, in this application and clicking on something. So if you can automate those actions, it will save a lot of time, and it is very important. Although I think that human judgment is also essential, so I think it has to be like a complement. Not one is better than the other, but it's a complement, I think.
And yeah, that's interesting. Why do you think the human interaction is needed? Because some people can say that the machines test better, right?
Yes, but there are like specific little details that they cannot reach, I think. So this is where the human mind comes and do what this.
No, that's perfect. Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I think we have to have some balance.
Yes.
In order to get a succeeded project. Okay, so now we have your daily job, the automation versus manual, which was a tie, I think. And now, Meli, how do you handle the errors? I mean, when we have some big errors and you are the one that discovered the error, for example, how do you try to communicate that to the team in order to not create a chaos or even with the client?
Yes. First, I try to have this specific scenario and bug very clear to me in order for me to explain it to the manager and also to write it down for the developers. So I think that is like the first step, to have this very clear for yourself in order to explain it later. And as you mentioned before, communication is essential. So after I have the ticket ready, I try to inform. Well, we have a Scrum, daily Scrum, so we talked about this. So sometimes I tell my peers that I am working on this ticket and probably you will receive them, and I give like some head-ups.
Okay, yeah, and I think the error part it's difficult to handle, and that's why I ask you, because some people can get a little crazy when they hear that something is not working correctly.
Yes.
And I don't know how do you do it, but why do you think a staging area or QA area is important for a project? Why not just to have production environment and to save a little bit money?
I think that is extremely risky to have only a production environment and to test there, because production is the thing that the end user is seeing. So if the end user is, if you are constantly changing that, then it could also produce a lot of other bugs, and it will be chaos, I think. So you always have to have a testing environment always. It is like.
It's an essential environment, right?
Yes,
Okay.
it is imperative.
Meli, some CTOs say that I mean, the engineers team and the developers team and the QA team need to be on the same building, or maybe can work in a project in a different buildings or different countries. What do you prefer? I mean, you say the communication is very essential. You say the communication is essential, and the team need to be confident. So, what do you prefer working with the developers? I mean, in the same building, talking every day, face to face. How do you deal with that?
Yes, I think that it is very important to have this physical to share a physical building, because it is easier to if you have the person next to you, you just, well, obviously you ask if if that person is busy or not. Well, sometimes I don't. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But you are more. That person is more available in a sense. So I think it is. Then you have the remote days, but you already build some confidence and also this relation. I think.
Have you worked with remote teams?
Well, right now, part of the team is in another country, but yes, I have.
Okay, okay, and how do you feel working? I mean, how do you feel working with a developers team in another country? Or
I haven't. No, I
area?
haven't. I haven't worked with a developer. I'm sorry, with a developer team in that isn't. No, but for
Just
example,
managers.
management.
Yeah, okay.
The management part, yes. No, but
Okay.
developers, no.
Cool.
I think it will be kind of difficult.
Do you think so?
Yes,
Well,
if the developer team is separate physically from the QA, it will be kind of difficult to. But it could work as well. I don't know.
maybe it can work, but I think at least what the Meli team is great is because they have a good communication, and I think this is thanks to that you are able to be next to each other into the same building.
Yes.
And I think it's faster to get that confidence
Feedback, and also the feedback.
and the feedback, with the people next to you.
Yes.
There is some things like with your partner, with your client, with your customer, that you cannot be in the same building because they
yes.
are in the US and all the story. But with developer, it's highly important.
Yes.
I think it's highly
Me
important.
too.
We can do, or we can make it work remotely, but it takes more time. I think.
Yes.
That's my thoughts about it, and I think you share.
Maybe time zones, or maybe availability, or maybe whatever thing, you know.
Yeah, you probably
Daily
can.
scrums.
Daily scrums
They are.
can be difficult to do it, and probably you'll have to spend more and more time to
Trying to explain.
to get in together
Yes.
and all the things that are basically faster if you are at the same building as we are doing right now. And I think what do you think if I ask you the top 3 common issues you faced as a QA, which will be them? Issues on software level or issues on people level, it doesn't matter.
I think the most common ones are functional ones. Sometimes content, but the ones that are the main ones are functional bugs.
Okay. Yeah, and as you said, the content, because as a developer, I think we focus too much on the code sometimes, and we forgot about, for example, getting the exactly color the ticket says, or putting the exactly same text that the ticket says, and I think this is, for me, I'm not a QA at all, but for me, I think the common issue is that it's not to read a little bit deeper the tickets.
Exactly. And also,
It's difficult because we want to, as a developer, we want to go and code and finish it.
Yes, that's it. But no, for example, also something that is very common as well is, and this is a type of test very important, called regression. This is when new code is added to the app or to the software, and there are certain other parts of the software that are affected by this. And so like the latest one was with this copy program functionality I'm working on, and there were some issues specifically not with the copy program, but with when you duplicate sections in pages that are, it hasn't have to do with specifically with that functionality, but it was affecting the other parts and other features. So regression testing is used to that, to test that, to see if the software in general is affected in some way or another with this new code or these changes.
So regression testing.
Yes.
Yeah, I have heard a little bit about it, and I think in your project you have some already automated regression testing for some functionalities. And yeah, they are so important because probably the code, it creates new code or change something like you said, but we broke some other area.
Exactly.
Those are difficult to know.
And to spot sometimes.
Yeah,
yes.
So I don't know, but I can imagine that in your place, you probably have to know a lot about the system, about how the product works, in order to attack those failures. How do you deal with them? I mean, what's the way? The only way is just to know the platform.
Yes, and to interact with it as like by using the different roles and to interact with it. That's what I did like for the first during like the first 3 months, and I'm still doing it because some features are still kind of not clear for me, but it's part of the
yeah, no, I can imagine, and even more if the project is bigger. It's huge, right? Okay, so if someone wants to start in the QA world, or let's rephrase it, if someone is searching for a QA guy or girl, how do you think this person have to check on that QA? What are the skills? The skills, let's say. Yeah.
I think this person has to be extremely detailed, focused. It has to she or he has to focus on details and little aspects. Also very organized, because you need to for example, when creating tickets, you need to have like these steps in your head. And assertive, but I think this is a quality that also developers and like professionals should have in general. And assertiveness, and what else? I think those three are like the basic ones: organization, assertiveness, and detail oriented.
Yeah, that's perfect, and I think you have all of them from now.
Thank you.
No, yeah. And finally, Meli, do you have now some tips for someone who wants to be a QA?
This is also a life tip.
A life tip.
A life tip.
Okay.
To be empathic, to put yourself in this case the user's shoes, in order to see to see what he or she is experimenting and wants.
That's perfect. Yeah, and we can apply it
to life.
Yeah. We like to do it to be empathic with ideas, with customers, with clients, with everyone. So I agree with you. I like it. Meli, I don't know, you have final thoughts, if you have something more to say that I'm forgetting to ask or something like that.
No, just that I really enjoy being a QA. It is something like I feel like a detective, like finding things and like errors. It's very entertaining for me.
Yeah, no, and it's very fun to have you here. When you create a ticket or something, the developers' faces are
like, oh.
priceless.
I'm sorry,
They're
guys.
like, oh, okay, new ticket. Okay, here we go. No, but that's totally fine, and I think you are doing an amazing job here.
Thank you.
With our client and also with all of the team. So Meli. Thank you so much. Really, we really appreciate your presence here, and keep going with this QA. And I know you will finish your QA automated soon.
Soon, yes.
Yeah.
Looking forward.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So guys, Allan, as you mentioned, there are some blogs, there are some webinars out there. There are more episodes of this podcast. What do you have to say?
Yeah, that's right. Well, Meli, thanks so much for being here. And maybe we can set up a new episode talking about the QA automation more daily.
Yes.
And sharing some good and bad experience.
The journey.
The bad journey and the good journey. Well, you can find this podcast on iTunes, or you can find this podcast on iBox or TuneIn or whatever platform you want to listen on. And that's it. Just subscribe and listen. Or you can go to 4geeks.io/podcast and you can listen every single episode. Remember, you can remember we are publishing a new episode weekly, so keep tuned
And have fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you guys again.
Thank you, Meli.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
You can subscribe from the podcast tapped on your device so you can listen to the latest episodes. Don't forget to rate us. That helps us reach out to more people. If you want to get the best out of your business, feel free to contact us at 4geeks.io/contact.